All right, so what I'm doing here is I'm gonna ice these beautiful bundt cakes. And what I'm gonna ice them with is fondant, but it's not a rolled fondant, it's a poured fondant. And what I did is I kind of just melted the icing. You don't want it to be too warm, but you don't want it to be too cold. It should be about like 98 to about 105 degrees. And you know, you can just see, you know, dip a ladle in or a spoon or anything and see how thick the coating is gonna be, because it's gonna continue to drip. If you can't find this is basically sugar and water. You know, it's kind of like a little glaze that you make. So I got my 2 bundt cake forms, which I baked. They came out nice and easy, nice and even. I'm gonna put these guys up on a little screen. All right. Now, and also too, you want the cake to be like refrigerated. It shouldn't be frozen, it should be refrigerated. You don't want it to be room temperature either. Like a big mistake a lot of people make in baking. Bake it, refrigerate it, and then ice it. If it's hot and you ice it, no, boo-boo. Don't do it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just pour some icing around it. Let it drip in. Okay, just kind of touch it with the knife, with the spatula here. Give it a good shake. Make sure we hit all the edges. All right. I'm going to give this a minute to set. Then we're going to decorate it. You don't want to make this too thick. You don't want to make it too thin. It's got to be just the right texture. Because if it's too thick, then it's too And you know, if it's too thin, then it's too transparent. You want it to look like a pumpkin. So we're going to let this sit and it'll kind of drip a little bit. All right. Now I'm going to get a board. Just always tap the pan a little bit so the icing drips. You want to give it a second so that it sets and dries, okay? And usually I use a bow knife, but I think this is a great tool because I'm pretty agile with it. I could use a skinny little knife, pick it up, and put it on the board. People at home, a little bit not as comfortable with a knife as I am, this is like a little cake lifter. And what we're gonna do here is just be able to shuffle this whole cake underneath and move it where we need to move it. So basically, to move this cake, I would use this, okay? But for you guys at home, this is something that I don't usually use, but with a cake like this, being so big and you don't want to mess it up, this is a foolproof way of making sure that you pick up your whole cake without dropping it. Because if you got to balance this cake on this knife, if you're not that skilled or whatever, you could have a disaster. And you don't want to have to bake this beautiful cake for so long and then have a disaster. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the first half my way. All right, so we're going to go underneath, okay? And we have to flip it. That was easy, right? Now, I'm going to use my little cake lifter here. Look at that. And then you just kind of like, because it's real easy to line it up and guide it into where you want to guide it. And you just kind of pull it out, right? Voila. And then, last thing we got to do, let's make sure we got a good side. I'm just fixing, this is not for TV, but. Okay. So now, put this baby up here. Make sure it's all nice and iced. Make sure it's all good. And the icing kind of seals it too. All right. So now what we're going to do take a little green. So we're going to take a little green, all right? First thing I'm going to do, kind of fill up our hole. Set it like that, and I'm going to put my tip on. All right. Got that. And we're going to take this, and we're going to draw a little face on. Okay? So we're going to put a little tip on here, and then let's see what we got. So that's our front and center. So let's make a triangle. We'll do a triangle, right? We'll fill it in. Let's make a triangle. Another triangle for his nose, right? Okay, now we're gonna go top part of his mouth. Okay, put a couple teeth in there. And you got a jack-o'-lantern. Not bad. All right. So next up, we got this wonderful silicone mold, which makes these great little pumpkins, okay? These are so easy to make, and you know, they bake so well. People don't realize how easy it is to bake in silicone, and it's pretty durable. You know, when it first came out, it was probably maybe like 10 years ago, and they brought it to me. It's like, I don't know if I want to bake with that. I feel like I'm gonna melt it in my oven, but this can hold some high temp, so don't worry about it. So basically what I'm going to do is I melted down a little poured fondant icing. Okay, got it texture I want it. Okay, and I'm going to just pour over my little pumpkin here. Just kind of like douse it. Just kind of nice and easy. Take your time with it. Just kind of like get a nice layer and enrobe it. Okay. Give it a good shake here. Let it all drip off. It's going to dry a little bit. And go back, make sure that we got all the edges covered. Okay, you want to get them totally covered. Give it a shake, right? Let these cool off a little bit. I take a little board here, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to decorate these. So put it on my board here, right? Who doesn't love this for Halloween? This is great things you can do with the kids, right? So what I'm going to do, pick up my bags, and we are going to put a little green stem on, right, like that. You can do it like that, but if you want to get a little crazier, a little bit more excited, you know what, why don't you give me that little pencil thing? If you want to get a little crazy, want to add a face, okay? I got this little guy here, and this is something I typically don't use in a bakery, but I think for somebody at home, it's good because it's got good control of the way you hold your hand on it. So basically what we're going to do is squeeze, draw little triangles, little triangles, little triangle, nose, two eyes, okay? And then a mouth. Couple of jack-o'-lantern teeth here. Bada bing, bada boom. And that's it. Simple, delicious, easy, something you can do with the kids. What's great about this too is you can interchange this to any tip. If you want a little thicker, a little thinner, this is great to like write happy birthday on a birthday cake. It just gives you a little more control and you just kind of like push down. Look, I would use a pencil. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I wouldn't, but if you don't know how to make a pencil cone out of parchment paper, this is a great tool.